Okay, let's just get right into it because this is the big, anxious question on pretty much every homebuyer's mind right now. You see the headlines about soaring mortgage rates, and you have to wonder, is the dream of owning a home completely off the table? Well, let's break down what's really going on and figure out if this is a time to panic, or maybe, just maybe, a time of opportunity.
And there it is, 6.5%. This is the number that's grabbing all the headlines, the number that's causing all the stress. Depending on where you look, that's roughly the average for a 30-year fixed mortgage right now. And yeah, it's a sharp move up. It's definitely something you got to pay attention to.
And let's be real, seeing a number like that can feel like a total punch to the gut. It makes you second-guess everything, your budget, your timing, all your plans. But before you throw those plans out the window, we really need to dig into why this is happening in the first place.
So what's the deal with this sudden surge? I promise you, it isn't random. There's a pretty clear economic chain reaction going on here, and understanding it is absolutely the first step to figuring out how to play this new game.
You can pretty much think of it like a set of dominoes. It all starts with geopolitical conflict, which in turn pushes oil prices way up. That jump in energy costs gets everyone worried about inflation across the board. So, to fight that inflation, investors start demanding a higher payout on super safe things like U.S. Treasury bonds. And since mortgage rates are tied directly to those bonds, when they go up, mortgage rates jump right along with them. It's a global thing that's hitting your local housing market.
All right, so we know the number and we know why it's happening. But you know, a percentage on a screen, it just doesn't tell the whole story. So now let's pull the camera back a little bit and put this whole rate hike into some much-needed perspective.
So let's talk about what really matters, your wallet. What's the real-world impact here? Well, according to Gino Franti over at The Lender Lower, this move in rates shakes out to about 60 to maybe 150 bucks more on your monthly payment. Now look, that's not nothing. But as he points out, for most buyers, that amount by itself shouldn't be the one single thing that makes or breaks your decision to buy a home.
And this is where it gets really interesting when you look at the context. Yes, absolutely, rates are up from that low point we saw back in February, no doubt about it. But look at where we were just 1 year ago, closer to 7%. So believe it or not, from a year-over-year perspective, affordability has actually improved. The gap between today's rate and those super low rates isn't as huge as it was.
And this brings us to what might be the single most important idea in this whole explainer. What if this isn't a crisis? What if what we're actually seeing is the market, well, correcting itself, returning to a place that's healthier and honestly more normal?
I love this quote from Gino Franti because it just nails it. He calls this the first naturally, fully organic market in over 20 years. Think about that. That whole era of artificially low, almost free money, and the crazy, frantic market that came with it, that's giving way to something a lot more balanced.
And this right here perfectly illustrates that shift. We're moving away from that old market. You remember it. Just fierce bidding wars, nothing to even look at, and sellers holding all the cards. Now, we're stepping into what's called a balanced market, a place where you, the buyer, actually have some negotiating power. More houses are popping up, and there's a real chance to find an opportunity.
So what do we even mean when we say a balanced market? Well, it's not just a vibe, it's an actual number. Experts say it's when there's about 4 to 6 months of housing supply out there. And where are we today? Get this, 3.8 months. We are right on the edge of hitting that sweet spot. We are so close to a truly stable market.
So if the market's changing, your whole strategy has to change with it. The key thing to realize is that obsessing over just the mortgage rate, that's the old way of thinking. In the market we're in today, you've got to look at the whole dashboard.
As expert Carl Benjamin points out, you got to think of this as your home buying dashboard. Don't just stare at the rate. You need to be watching inventory levels where you want to live. Pay attention to how long homes are actually sitting on the market. Are sellers starting to offer concessions? Are they dropping the price? These are the new flashing signs for opportunity.
And of course, the most important dial on that whole dashboard is you. Your own personal financial picture, your credit, your savings, what your long-term goals are, that's what really determines the right move. The great thing about a balanced market is that it gives you more time and more breathing room to make a choice that actually works for your life.
So the whole story has changed. The crucial takeaway is that this market isn't something to be afraid of. It's a landscape with a whole new set of rules and new chances for buyers who are smart and know what to look for.
In the end, it all comes down to this. In that crazy seller's market, the only question anybody could ask was, what's the rate? Can I even afford it?
But in this new, balanced market, you get to ask a much more powerful question. With more options and more power to negotiate, where's my opportunity? And that, right there, is the real story, hiding behind all those scary headlines.